Hey there, it's Eileen O'Reilly with Eileen O'Reilly Live, and I'm here today on my podcast with two newer agents to the real estate business, and I'm here with Lee Brock and Dan Freeman. Welcome to the show, you guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Cool. So I wanted to kind of just talk to you guys a little bit today about how, like where you're at in your transition into real estate and what's going well, those kinds of things. So maybe you guys could just take a couple of minutes and tell me, what was real estate about? Like, why real estate?
I guess real estate's kind of been on the back burner for me for years. I think it all started because of HGTV. And of course, I had the fantasy version of what being a real estate agent was going to be like. And I had no idea how much work and how hard it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I followed Lee into it. I was working as a artist and designer with a great bunch of people, and COVID brought that to an end. But Lee had already been wanting to go into real estate and had already started the process at that time. And we had a plan, and the plan was that I would follow him into it in like 3 to 5 years. He would be settled in real estate. He'd be established. He'd be working. I was, hit the ground running, and then I would follow him in. He would help train me, and then COVID happened, and I lost my work, and it was just like, okay, the plan just got accelerated, and we're doing it at the same time now. So
wow.
So silver lining was because of the pandemic shutdown, we had the time to actually knuckle down and study and take the exam and get going.
That's really cool. I mean, I've heard a lot of stories from people who've changed careers or gone back to school and done, getting more certifications or, different types of education going to be able to better themselves as they come out of COVID. So that's really kind of cool that you guys had that opportunity.
Yeah. Not to diminish all the suffering that many people have gone through, but it worked out good for us.
Awesome. So, tell us a little bit about that process for you. So you decided you wanted to get into real estate. How did you get started as far as your education and passing the test and all that stuff?
Well, the exam, basically it's a big vocabulary test. So you just have to hunker down, focus. It really helped for me to, because it's so much memorization, it really helped for me to kind of have a system. What I did is I would study. I would set a timer and I'd study for like 30 minutes, and then I'd set another timer to take a break for 10 minutes, during which time I would stretch, or I do like a little mini meditation to help improve my memory or to reduce the stress. And then I'd go back in and I just keep going. And I do that about 5 days a week. And eventually I got through it all. So the system really helped a lot because it's kind of grueling to prepare that test. Yeah.
And Lee, did you follow the same path? I'm sorry, Dan, did you follow the same path?
Yeah, pretty much. I did a different testing. I think Lee used Kaplan tests, and I did a combination of Prep Agent. I got the exams done through Prep Agent, and then I did supplemented it with Kaplan, and the combination of the two are what helped get me past the exam, the state exam. But yeah, it was grueling. It was like going back to school. It was several hours a day of just nonstop study, and it was pretty stressful too. But then the test was crazy because the test, you take the state exam and I thought after reading the first 10 questions that I was going to fail this test because there was nothing in those first 10 questions that was in any of my studying. And I'm a good studier. Like I remember stuff, I remember things, and those first 10 questions, I was like, I'm failing. I kind of gave up with the first 10 questions. Like, I'm done. This is over.
Yeah.
And then I started breathing and calmed down and just kept going. And I passed on the first try, but it was stressful. That test is hard. And so, glad we both passed.
Yeah. Good job. So what kind of things are you guys learning then now that you're through the test and you're working in the business, now that you're actually practicing real estate, as an agent? You guys are solo agents or a team? How's that working? Okay.
I didn't know he was going to want to join me. So I started out as a solo agent, but now that we're working together, it's so much better and so much more fun. And that's the thing is, one of the things you learn right away is you can't really do this alone. You might be a solo agent, but as they say, it takes a village, and you have to kind of gather all of your teammates, your teachers, people who can inspire you, people who you can learn from, and then also people you can turn around and kind of pay it forward and help out. It really takes a group effort to run a real estate business. And so we're a team, Rock Freeman Group.
Awesome. That's great. So now that you're practicing real estate, like what kind of things, you said it takes a team, takes a village. What kind of things are you learning about at the moment? Like, marketing and what kind of stuff are you working on?
It's one of the things that you mentioned to me when we first met was learning to be a real estate agent is like drinking from a fire hose. It's just like so much information all at once. And I think the main thing is like figuring out what your system is and getting those systems in place so you can kind of do each bit of the various categories that we have to learn a little bit at a time, one day at a time, and work that out in a way that you can assimilate all that information and then use that information at a pace that works best for you. So the systems. It's again, they say it's a relationship business. So learning how to connect with people and learning how to work with your prospects and your customers and your clients and, all of your fellow industry people, all the vendors that you need to work with, creating that network. I think that's a major part of it as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I ditto. It's, just a ton of information coming at us from the beginning. The minute you get licensed, it's like that day you start receiving a bunch of information. And you sign up for a brokerage, it's a ton of information. So yeah, right now we're learning how to build our business. I mean, we're looking at it from that perspective, like we're building our business. Everything we put into it goes toward, are we growing or not? How are we going to grow our business? On the day-to-day, I mean, like doing the open houses has been really fun. Like that's one great learning experience. Like we're learning real world, face-to-face with people, what people are interested in, what they're looking for, what their fears are, just how that process goes. So that's been a big learning experience that you don't really get behind the scenes. When I'm marketing, I'm not getting the face-to-face as much, but
right.
So yeah, the open houses have been great.
Cool. And it's nice that we can do them again now. So that's all.
That's the fun part.
It is.
Just getting out there and connecting with people. And
I agree with that too. So, you're just getting started. You're learning kind of how to build your business, and you're learning things about what you need to do to be successful and how you need to, find clients and that sort of stuff. And do you feel stuck in any way? Like, is there anything that's hard for you right now, like making those calls or
everything?
Getting over that call reluctance, that fear, and then with the lead generation thing, like, how do you feel when you have to do that?
It's it's all about the mindset that you have to work that out. I mean, I don't know, for me, there is a lot of fear in making the calls because on one hand, you want to build rapport with the people that you're reaching out to, but there's the fear that by making that call, you're bugging them and you're going to actually hurt your rapport. So it's like, it's real easy to get stuck in that. And I think, what my teachers are showing me is that what you're actually offering them is a service when you're calling them. So you're offering information, you're offering them benefits, and just kind of take it from that perspective, less about like what you can sell them or what you're going to push on them, but more on how you can help them. And that makes it a lot easier if I go in with that kind of mindset rather than what can I get out of this call. And that
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I mean, fears for me are all around cold calling, lead gen toward people I don't know, people outside of my sphere of influence. And yeah, getting on the phone. I mean, I think the inertia, the resistance that I feel toward that is bigger than anything else, getting on the phone. And I think it's just, I don't know, I think that's a universal kind of human feeling. You know, we come across this with other agents all the time. It seems like it's the number one thing that agents are scared of, but just on a human level, like, I don't want to be rejected. Like, I'm scared of hearing no. I'm scared of being rejected. I'm scared, you know, but we have to do it. It's part of this work. And it's, I think one of the ways to overcome this is to, like, I'm developing a thicker skin. I'm like being okay with hearing no. So, I mean, ultimately it's growing me, not just as a business or us as a business, but like, I think it's growing us as people. It's giving us characteristics in our personalities that we might not have had otherwise. Yeah. So, yeah.
It is something that is hard to kind of get past. I don't particularly love it either, but you know, you do have to talk to people. And I think if you guys both have very pleasant voices, so it's easy, you know, to connect with people. But yeah, I mean, it is part of the job, right?
Yeah.
So what's a typical day look like for you guys? Tell me like how you get your day going and stuff.
Well,
we get up, we could probably stand to get up a little earlier, maybe an hour earlier than we do, but we get up, we do our morning practice, and that's, I make tea for us, and then we meditate together, and then we just sort of like wake up like that. And then we go into, lately we've been exercising, so we'll do an elliptical, and I've been using these tension bands as weights instead of weights. And then we start with real estate. So we'll look at emails, we go on the MLS, we start looking at new listings, and if listings have changed, we look at our CRM. We start looking at what tasks do we have today? Do we need to follow up with anybody today?
Yeah, for me, again, the system is important. I have to use time blocking because I'm a bit of a driver. So if I have a project, I want to jump on it and I won't stop. I'm like a dog with a bone. I won't stop until I get that done. But that doesn't really always turn out to be the best way to work during the day, because there's so many different things that need to be attended to. So I might do cold calling for 2 hours, and then I might start working on our marketing for another hour. And then, just kind of, again, kind of chunk away at the different projects that I have to work on. And putting it on the calendar is a must, because if it's not on the calendar, it's so easy for me to just forget that I have something to do. And I've got lists. I've got my Trello lists, and I've got my sticky notes and everything. But time blocking, I think, is really important for me.
Yeah. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, time blocking. I'm getting better at using my calendar and color coding things. And early on, after I'd first gotten licensed, I took a class through EXP World with a guy named Ruben, who his thing is Proven by Ruben, and he's a big personality, and he was talking about time. The whole thing was about time blocking and scheduling and being friends with your calendar. And you have to use a calendar that is able to block things out in different colors, to expand the day into times throughout the day. So I really have started practicing that more than I needed to before I came into real estate, and that's been a big help. I mean, if I don't write it, that's the thing. If I don't write it down, it's not going to get done.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the basic, that is a fact. So everything needs to be written down. Everything, I need to write a lot of notes for myself. I need to keep notes in the CRM. I need to schedule tasks in the CRM, because otherwise I'll forget about them.
Yeah. I'd like to think I'm going to remember stuff, but I don't.
Yeah, we've just got too many things happening and coming at us. So, what has surprised you guys about your new career path? Is there anything that was like, you're like, wow, I didn't realize it would be like this, or pleasantly surprised, like, wow, this is so awesome, I love it? Like, what kind of things have been surprising you?
Well, I mean, how much work there is involved. I mean, it's a lot harder than anyone even realizes. And I mean, the attrition rate is pretty high. So you kind of go into it knowing like, failure is not an option. I've got to make this work because I don't want to be part of that statistic.
Mm-hmm.
It's demanding. So you have to kind of ready for that. And you have to kind of thicken your skin, and you have to really, really improve your listening skills and your ability to be sensitive to the needs of your customers. But I think the thing that was really surprising in a good way is just, especially coming off of the pandemic shutdown, is the, I'm going to say joy you get from connecting with people. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I connected with people a lot in my career as a hair colorist, but that was kind of in, little 30-minute or 1-minute segments, and they would come once a month. And that was great. I loved that. I loved all my girls, and I loved that experience. But being able to go out of the house and get in the car and travel to meet someone, to show them a house, and to, have a lunch meeting with them, or, go for coffee or a drink or whatever. That I really love that part of it. That's kind of like my favorite part of it. It brings me out of myself a lot more, and just connecting with people really kind of, brings a happiness that I haven't experienced before.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think too, we've all been so shut down over the past year. Just the fact that people can get out and talk to one another, I think, is a huge plus. People seem to be really enjoying that. So it does feel good to be able to reconnect with people or connect with them on the first time and just have a, face-to-face conversation, not on Zoom. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, obviously you've been working through this. You probably read a lot of different articles and, talk to different people, are on different, because as a real estate agent, you just get bombarded with, check this out, check that out, look at this, be on my webinar, do this, do that. So, what's the best advice that you've received probably since you started working in the business?
From you, actually, one of the things you told me pretty early on was done is better than perfect. And I think about that every day. I mean, it's one of the things, I tend to be a perfectionist, and I tend to want to work on things to death, and I'll work on things for hours and hours and days, and you just can't do this in this business. And I really appreciate that, especially about social media and how, I'll edit a video until I can't even stand looking at it anymore. And I think it's just better to just do the video, say it's good enough, and hit publish. And that's okay. It just has to be okay for today.
Yeah.
And so I think about that all the time. I feel like that's a great piece of advice for somebody who's, wants control and perfection. And there's just not enough hours in the day to be a perfectionist in this business. So yeah, that was great advice.
Yeah. And I think too, like you said, you can work on little bits at a time. So if there is something you don't like, you can go back in and you can update it and spend 15, 20 minutes doing it instead of trying to grind it out and spend 5 hours to get it perfect. The other hours that you use, you could be using your time better.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a hard one for me too. So, I'm like you, I like to if I'm working on something, I want to get it finished. So I have to be able to pause and put it aside and, come back to it later. So,
yeah.
Now I know you mentioned you were with eXp Realty. So how's your experience been so far with eXp?
I'm really excited about being with eXp. It's just growing like crazy. It's like the fastest growing real estate company in the United States, and it's gone worldwide. It's global. Mm-hmm. I think the financial structure is the best that I researched. Especially for a new agent, you're not stuck with these huge monthly fees that other brokerages charge. you got stock options, you got revenue sharing, which is different than profit sharing. You actually earn more that way. And the thing that really drew me to EXP was even before I was licensed, I was able to go on the virtual world and get into their classes. They do like 50 live classes a week, and I could start learning how to be an agent before I even got licensed. And so that's the thing that like really got me into strongly considering EXP. And then yeah, I'm glad I did. I haven't looked back.
Cool. That's, it's a different brokerage model than other places. And so, sometimes it takes some heat because of that. It's different, but at the same time, there's pluses and minuses to everything. So, so what's been your most exciting experience in your time as an agent?
I'd probably say up to this point, for me, it would be open houses. I mean, I really am loving the face-to-face interactions with people. It's the most exciting part of this work so far. I imagine once I start having a lot of deals and that's happening, that will become the most exciting part of it. That's my hope. But so far, I mean, I just love the social parts of this job are the best.
Right.
I really feel enlivened by it and just excited about it. And yeah.
He's really got the gift of gab. I had no idea. I mean, we talk, but I mean, he can just go on and on for hours. It's amazing. I think that is definitely an asset as a real estate agent.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would not have really thought that you were the Gabby type, but
I tend to
really enjoy it.
I tend to be pretty quiet most of the time.
Yeah.
Where I'm finding myself in these open houses, just like really engaged.
Yeah.
With the people. So who knew?
Yeah, I'm downstairs watching the door, and he's upstairs like 45 minutes to an hour later, and I go up there expecting to see contracts all over the counter because he's had them up there that whole time.
I need to start carrying the contracts with me. Okay, ready to sign?
Good. Yeah, you should have it all, set up for yourself there. So, what advice can you give somebody who, like a newer agent who's just getting started in the business, or somebody who's thinking about becoming an agent? What advice could you give them?
I would say straight away, find your people who are going to teach you and influence you. Even if you want to be a solo agent, find those people who are going to help you grow. And then look for ways that you can actually pay it back. And you will learn so much by sharing what you've learned. So even if you're going to be a solo agent, kind of find your village, find the people that you're going to work with. There's always someone out there who's better at you at whatever you're doing. And then there's always someone that you can help.
That's awesome. That's great advice. So let's just on a kind of closing. You've done a couple of deals, I believe. So you had a couple of closes, which is pretty exciting, especially for a new agent. That's pretty exciting. So how did that make you feel?
That was awesome. I mean, it's great. I mean, you put a lot of work into it, and then when it finally closes and you see the look of satisfaction on your client's face when you give them their keys, and you know that it was a job well done. How many people it takes to do a transaction, from the agents to escrow to all the various people involved in it. It's really a project, and when it's all said and done, it's really definitely it gives you a sense of satisfaction.
It was really exciting to watch. I was behind the scenes on those when Lee was handling them, and it was very exciting from my perspective to see just how much Lee put into those transactions and how much work it takes to get that kind of job done. So, and then when it closes, it's everybody sort of gets to just breathe again. Like, did it? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's exciting.
That's great. And then, like, if people wanted to find you and reach out to you, maybe to talk to you about, your experience, or, if they're interested in working with you, how can they find you?
We are the Freeman Group, and we are in Pacifica, and we are covering the San Francisco Bay Area with an emphasis on coast side and peninsula. And would you like our phone numbers?
You can check out
Well,
check out our socials. You can
Yeah.
look at Facebook and Instagram. We're at Rock Freeman Group. So just look
Okay.
us up, and you can get in contact there.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate your time and all of
Thank you.
your great feedback. And I wish you much success in the future. And if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. And have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Eileen.
You too.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. So that's it for this episode of Eileen O'Reilly Live. And stay tuned for some more action in the next few weeks. Okay. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.